Namaste. My name is Ayush Ghai. I'm the lead architect and the co-creator of the database, search engine, and archive management software called Elasticgraph that I am about to demonstrate to you in this video. This is a multi-purpose software. It is a relation-aware graph database using NoSQL storage. It is a search engine extending Elasticsearch, the best search software for big data and scale in open source. It is also an archive management solution which helps you manage your digital and media assets along with the rest of the information in your database. It helps store, catalog, retrieve, search, manage, and publish information and digital and media assets, both through the default admin user interface, which you will see now, and also through the developer API interface, with which you can build customized mobile apps and websites of your own. This database provides a multilingual storage and search, comes with a Material UI-based modern user interface, and is customizable for any kind of schema or use case. The solution was originally authored to archive and catalog the life and teachings of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama from Tibet. We migrated the information from the old FileMaker database used in Namgyal archive to Elasticgraph. The solution reduces chances of human error and saves lot of time in typical data and archive management job. Namgyal archive was meant to manage and publish hundreds of terabytes of their media and digital content, everything about the life of His Holiness, including thousands of events attended by him, his team, and guest speakers. This solution is meant to eventually store anything and everything about him and his life under the sun, including books, press releases, awards, life events also. It was also asked to keep this 100% flexible in the user interface for admin and also the backend for future evolution and changes, and also for the possibility of adoption in other Tibetan departments. The requirements from the Namgyal archive were somewhat complex. Given the scope of the problem statement and keeping flexibility for enhancement and use cases of different kinds, I wanted the solution to be a simple solution, which is also generic, stable, effective, and powerful to withstand the test of time. I will now be taking you through this solution for an evaluation of its functionality and potential in the light of the aforementioned purpose. This is a new software and still has occasional issues here and there. They are getting fixed. Like any software, it will get better as it is used. If you like this and are interested, please contact me for further details on ayush.ghai@gmail.com. It is possible to start a test trial with data migrated from your existing database in 8 to 12 weeks from the day the schema is fixed. Now, let us start the demo. This database comes with a login screen. Every user enters their username and password to enter the database so that it is password protected and accessible only to team members. Here is a user Pankaj entering the database. As you enter, you see total entities with counts. This is a summary of all the entities that exist in the database and also the number of documents that there are for every entity in the database. Then you see a drop down showing all the entities. You can select any particular entity like event itself, and here you can type in something in the text and search for events. Since you put the word freedom, all the events which have the word freedom in any of their fields, including the title, description, are showing up in the search results. You can see that there are 34 kinds of talks, 22 ceremonies, it's ceremony English, which spelling we will fix later. This is a wrong spelling. Then conference teachings, you can filter down by clicking on any one of them. Let's say teachings. Now you got 15 teachings, 15 events which are of type teachings. Here are the speakers. different speakers and who they have spoken in this event. Here is the location. It was shot in Thekchen Choling Temple. 7 events are in Thekchen Choling temples of kind teaching. Now you further narrowed down on the search result. Then primary languages are English, Tibetan, and Russian. Let us say in Russian, this event has a teaching in Russian in Ma- Russian Mongolian teaching 2007. Now, in the search result, you can see there's an empty line. This is there because this event does not have a title. Let's go and give this event a title. Now, let's go back to the last search by clicking on the icon above. Now, we're back there again. And you can also see that the title is now showing here in the search result. Also, the search result has two views. For any entity, you can configure also a column view, where which fields do you want to show in an Excel sheet like view of your results. Sometimes you have lots of results and you want to see them like in an Excel sheet. So then you can do this. Also, if you enable a particular language, right now only English is enabled. If you enable Tibetan, then that will also start showing up in the search results as well. Also, within the event, now the Tibetan is also showing, which was not showing earlier because I enabled Tibetan. You go back again using the back icon. So this is broadly how you use the search. Now there is also an advanced search. In the advanced search, you can search based on any particular field, like title. Give me events where title contains the word freedom. These titles have matched. When you see open any search result, you can even do next and previous based on the arrows on top right. You can browse between the event results. Check all the events which have the word freedom, and you can pick up the event that you are more interested in. Then the advanced search also allows you to specify in any field that give me the field in which there is some value entered for title, that fields which don't have an empty title, then you say star. And if you want to see events which don't have empty title but they have an empty description, then you add an exclamation mark. And let us see if we have such events. Yes, so there are 6 such events which have a title but which have an empty description. You can further also specify the starting date. Either you can give just a year that I want events that happened in 1983, and let us say where the speaker was His Holiness and he spoke in Tibetan. Then we've got 8 such events in which His Holiness spoke in Tibetan, and also it they were held in 1983. As you can see, they are from 1983. These events. Advanced search allows you to search any entity based on any of its fields and also any of the relationships that are there in the entity and that you have enabled for search. This cus- this search based on the relationships of any entity has to be enabled when you are setting up the database. That I when I'm searching for events, I also want to search for events based on their speakers or based on their files or folders or locations. You specify this in advance, and later this is all searchable within one click by simply writing them here itself in the search query. Let us say events which were there in Tibetan language. All of these have either the word Tibetan inside their description, or they would be having the primary language as Tibetan within them. You can even put a location here. Let's say event shot in Dharamshala. Now the keyword Dharamshala is in 424 search results. Either it is in the location itself or it is in any of the other fields of these events. Out of them, 169 events have location Dharamshala. You can even search based on classifications which are showing drop downs, because there are few classifications it can have just a drop down instead of auto suggest. Give me events which have arrival and in which primary language is, let us say, Hindi. There are no such events. Anyway, so this is about the search functionality of the database, including the advanced search. In this database, it is also possible to search for any entity based on the data stored in its relationships. For example, searching for events based on the name of its location. Typically, this search in the old database would require finding out the ID of the location, then going to the event and putting in this ID, then looking for the events accordingly. But here you can simply enter the within the event search itself, you can enter the name of location and event will start showing up in the search results based on name of location also. And you can configure this search to work the same way based on any other relationship of the event. Now here we link this event with location XYZ, the teaching in Mongolian, as you can see. Now we will search for events based on location XYZ. So when I put XYZ, two more events have shown up. We will see. They also must have some field which has the content XYZ, and that's why these other two results Hari Om are also showing up. But our event teaching in Mongolian is also showing up because of XYZ. Let us have a look at the other fields. Yes, so here the speaker is XYZ in this event, and in this event also the speaker is XYZ. So you can see this is a very powerful capability of searching for any entity based on values in its relationship within the database, and being able to do it so fast. This is an innovation which is not present in most of the databases in the world today. These databases are called graph database, and none of them provide such kind of speed and flexibility as this particular database provides. For if you want to search based on a relationship which has not been pre-configured for this graph search, then there is a way to go in advanced search. For example, let us say the hard drives are not included in event search, so you can simply go to advanced search, select the hard drive and say submit. So this is showing up the event in which we have linked this particular hard drive here. So this way you can do a search very fast by just typing in the search box or going to the advanced search and doing more targeted search within your database. Here itself you can also specify some relationships like what classification, like dog. You can also add more classifications like ceremony English, and you can say location Dharamshala, National Press Club Dharamshala in Australia. We can specify the starting date and ending date also. Let's say 10 2018, and you say submit. So here we have the event created. In fact, you can even search based on the Tibetan language fields also. This result has showed up. Then you see the classifications and the location is also showing up. Now, if you were to create sessions within the events, then how would you do that? There are two ways. One is you go here in the top box where we created event, you select session and you click on session and create a new session and then link it later with the event by searching. Or the easier way is that within the event there is a functionality to create new session and then link it with the event by automatic procedure. The database will do this for you. So let us create session 1 and let us add some speakers who spoke in this session. Let us say His Holiness speaking in Tibetan. Let us have also add classification that this was, as you see when you selected classification, the classification from event, the top two, talk and ceremony English, are already showing here, which makes it easier for data entry admin to pre-fill this in the session without having to go through the rest of the scrolling below. So I will say that this session is a talk itself and I say submit. As you see, session 1 is showing out here, and now let us also see the fact that the speaker His Holiness got added automatically to the event as well. So this database allows you to configure copying value from relationships into your own entity. Like in event, you can copy the speakers of sessions into the event. So whosoever has spoken in sessions, they are also by default speakers of the event, like you are seeing here. And then let's look at the primary languages. Here also you are seeing Tibetan. So another copy rule within the event is that whatever are the primary languages of the speakers, they shall also be the primary languages of the event itself. Now when you go to create another session and link it, you go to speakers, you are already seeing, just like classifications, His Holiness in Tibetan showing on top. But in this auto suggest, you can also add another speaker. Let us say Richard Gere. Richard Gere in English. So we created another session for this event and there we added Richard Gere. The other session does not have a title yet, so it's showing empty. Now you can see the primary languages is already picked up and is showing English because Richard Gere spoke in English in that session. And in the event speakers also, you are starting to see Richard Gere as well speaking in English. Now let's have a look on how to handle all the media stored in the archive. This archive has terabytes of digital media in form of audio, video, photos, files and folders, and it also has hundreds of tapes and CDs and DVDs and old style storage mediums from even 30 years ago, 40 years ago. So how can all of this media be linked to the right event and sessions is the next question. So let us have a look and how to link, starting with non-digital media. Let us say how to link tapes and optical drives with the events. So let us say that we have arrived at our event page, effortlessness. You see, I type in English, but autosuggest is also showing in this because I have disabled English. I enable English again, and effortlessness, enlightened living. So it was showing in Tibetan, the autosuggest, because the Tibetan was enabled in the language. Now we scroll down to the tapes. Let us say somebody gave us a new tape. So we will go and link this tape to this particular event. This tape, let us say, did not exist in the database so far, so we will create a new tape. The tape's name will be tape 1 and let's say submit. So tape 1 is already visible here now. Also, we forgot to set the physical media form and format of this tape. Let us say the tape is a mini disc, no, or a 8 tape, and its format is audio cassette. Submit. You see, and now let us go to the event itself and see how the tape is showing there. Yes, tape 1 audio cassette 8 So let us say that now we want to link this event with a tape which is already in the archive. We just discovered that this particular tape which we already have in the archive is about this event. So now we will search for that tape based on whatever keywords and advanced search we want to do. Find this tape and link it with the event by this way. So this way we can link existing tapes or new tapes as well. PAL mini DV tape. Then there are also optical drives like CDs and DVDs, which you can again link with the event in the same way. Either you can create new and add the day you get a new CD, or you can search for existing one and link them with the event. Now let us see how to link a hard drive with the event or a session. So the first step is to sync all the content of the hard drive with the database itself. So let us first enter all the files and folders and audio, video, all the content of this hard drive into the database. Once it is done, then we will link the right folders of the hard drive with the right events and the right sessions in the second step. So the first step is to sync the hard drive. The command line takes in the configuration of the whole database, the path to configuration, which is stored in new config here. It takes the name of the hard drive, let's say MD8 9. It takes the spreadsheet temp variable, which is case sensitive. It is derived from the legacy database that was used. So the old database had spreadsheet temp variable, which is used to determine whether the content is raw or edited. Now the scanning has started. It is ignoring all the empty folders, and it has found 121 videos, 72 audio, 33 folders, almost 300 files, and it has now synced the hard drive as well. So let us go and check if the hard drive got synced out there. MD9. So MD9, as you can see, is synced out here. And here is all the content of the hard drive: the consciousness of atom, Vikalp or JV, Adhyan Bindu, etc. All these files, the PDF and doc files. And along with it, you've got all the folders contained within this hard drive. Here you can see this folder with child folders. You can browse like in a tree view. It can go as much in as you want. So you can browse all of your content, get down to the right files, even PowerPoints, and see what all is stored where. Now in this view you will see that the processing status field, which is this in Tibetan, let us change this to English. The processing status of the files is the folders is being shown as edit because of the XDCAM spreadsheet temp variable that we set. All XDCAM hard drives are edit hard drives. You can change it to raw or edit right here. If you mark any folder as raw, then all of the content contained within the folder will also be marked as raw. These are all raw videos and audio. This is what we mean here. So this is again one of the automatic data copy policy that we have set in the database, that processing status of any file, audio, video or folder is a copy of processing status of its parent folder. So whenever you set for any folder its processing status, all of its children folders and files on it in its entire hierarchy tree gets updated with the new processing status. Now the fourth column on the right is the sessions. So every event is linked with a folder, that this event, the content of this event is contained within this folder, and within every folder the subfolders contain the content of the sessions of the event. This is how it is in the Namgyal archive. So let us look at any folder and see which event it belongs to. So let us link that folder with the event. So let us say that this hard drive so far does not have the media for our event effortlessness, and this event ended yesterday and we copied all its media into this hard drive. Then we will sync this hard drive again with the database, and then all its latest the latest state of the hard drive will be copied to the database, including the content for the new folder. The syncing is in process. It's an old machine, and yet it takes very less time to sync this 45 gig hard drive. It has 45 gigs of content, and for even 1 terabyte hard drives it takes less than 20 minutes. So there we have synced the hard drive. Let us go and check if the view gets updated. We will reload the hard drive. There you go. The effortlessness and enlightenment folder is now showing up in the hard drive. It has session 1 and session 2 as well. Let us go to this folder and let us link it with the event. Let us say this folder belongs to our event effortlessness, which already exists in the database. Effortless enlightened living. We will click on it and say link. So there, this event is now linked to this folder, and then we look at the session 1 and session 2 of this folder. Now if you click on the pencil icon near session 1, it is session 2 and session 1. It's already started showing up both the sessions of the event. The second session does not have a name, hence this is not showing up here. So let us fix the second session and give it a title. Session 2. Let's go back to the event. Go back to the folder. Session 1, session 2 are here now. We go back to the hard drive that the event is linked to. Go back to this folder here. See, session 1 and session 2 is now rightly showing up here. So we will say this is session 2 and this is session 1. So because the parent folders of session 2 and session 1, which is effortless enlightened living folder, this folder, the effortless enlightened living, has these two subfolders, and now these two are both linked to the session. Just by linking an event to the parent folder, you can start linking the sessions to its child folders very easily with the help of this drop down. You can see these sessions linked everywhere else in the tree view. Wherever you open these folders, you will see these two sessions linked. For example, let us go to the hard drive and have a look there. You see Effortless Enlightenment 2018 701. You open session 2, session 1, and we are already showing the sessions it is linked to right here. Now, whenever you want to look for the media content of any event or any session, you can simply search for that event or session and go and see the hard drive which contains the content of this event. For example, event Effortless Enlightened Living. This event has these hard drives linked to it. And also this event at the bottom, you will see all the folders linked to the event right here. You search for any other event, go there, scroll to the bottom. You see all the folders which are linked to the event are existing here. And the subfolders will also show you sessions. So now you can figure out which folder has the content for session 1, session 2, then put that content in a USB stick and give it to the person who's asking you. Similarly, you could even in future add YouTube URLs. The day all of this is put online, then you can put YouTube URLs and link that with an event as well, so that even your content on internet can be linked to an event. Now, let us also look at all the metadata extracted for every video and audio automatically by this software. So here is a particular video, story of stuff. Its size, modified, processing status, extension, format info, format profile, the codec ID, QT, the commercial name is not available here, the duration, the bit rate, the video bit depth, video format, video codec ID, video bitrate, bit height, display aspect ratio, frame rate mode, frame rate, color space, chroma sampling, scan type, audio format profile, audio codec ID, bitrate mode, audio bitrate, audio sampling rate. All of these fields are automatically extracted by the software. Earlier, the Namgyal archive team used to enter each of these fields individually. That not only took them, imagine for a 1 terabyte file, it will take them ages to enter it. And second, it will also, sorry, for a 1 terabyte hard drive, it will take them ages. And also to enter all of these manually, they may also do a mistake in the process. It is a very cumbersome process. So far in the Namgyal archive, this particular scanning feature makes it super fast and fault proof for them to do all the same work with much more efficiently. Then on any video, you can also set where is this video hosted on the internet. It could be on YouTube, Vimeo, or any other site. So here we are showing the video is hosted on this URL on YouTube. You can add any new URL based on the create new and search functionality as explained before. So this ways, for every video and audio, you or even a photo in future or any file, you can set up the link for cloud streaming. That where is it stored on online for streaming, and then cloud archive also. That where is it stored in the archive on the cloud. All the backups of all the content, where is it stored, shall be put here. This database is 100% generic and flexible for future extensions, change in schema, and new use cases. The whole view, all the fields that you see in the view, and all the other details that you see with all the fields, the way the auto suggests works, showing speakers with their language, showing locations with their parent locations and type. All of the view is configurable based on the configurations you set. Then also how the relationships of the database work, your schema, the copy rules, how things are copied from one place to another, that also is set in configuration files. Everything about this database, how you configure it for your use case, is set in configuration files. There is nothing inside the code of this software specific to Dalai Lama's archive. Everything about the Dalai Lama archive or any other use case of this software is outside of the code. It is in the configuration folders. Now let us have a quick look at all the different configurations, important configurations for you. So let us look at the configurations for on the server side. On the server side, you have two main folders called the joins and the schema. The common.toml tells you about the supported languages, English and Tibetan. Tomorrow you want to add German, you simply add German and comma and it will start working in the database. Then the second folder is joins. Then the third is the schema. In the schema folder, you have declaration of all the entities that exist, like event and folder, books, audio, video. All of that is contained within this. Let us have a look at the event, for example. All of these files called toml files describe for every entity the name of the field, like title, its type, which is string or date, or a number, whether it shows in auto suggest or not. Like event, the auto suggest should work on event based on its title, so you say auto suggestion is true, so then the auto suggestion will start working for event based on its title. You also say whether multilingual is true or not. If multilingual is true, then this title will have data stored in all different languages. Similarly, you can find the field declaration for all other entities. Then the second file of interest is the relationships file. The relationships file contains all the relationships of the database. For example, events and speakers. Many events can have many speakers. It's a many to many relationship. Like one event can have many speakers, and one speaker can also speak in many events. On the first row, you write the name of relationship speakers with respect to events, and on the second row, you write the entities which are involved in this relationship. And by putting square brackets around them, you say that this is a many relationship. So, many events to many speakers. If you look at sessions with events, then this is one event with many sessions, so on and so forth. Then the other important files that you should look at straight away is aggregations, for example. Aggregations is what shows you the breakup of search result. If you go to a search, on the left you are seeing a breakup of all the camera person, all the roles in the database based on camera person, audio person, video editor. So the person role entity, when it is showing in the search result, has a breakup of role based on role. You look at person role here and you see the breakup is on role.name. Similarly, events have breakups on primary language, the speakers.person.name, the location's name, and the classification's name, which you can see in the event search also. The classifications, the speaker's person's name, the location's name, and the primary language's name. Then this is in the schema. Dependencies.toml is an advanced configuration file which I'll skip for this demo. It's for database admins to read. Then the unions.toml. The unions is where the copy rules of the database are stored. Do you remember when we were adding speakers to the sessions, they were automatically getting added to the event? Here is the rule for that, that within the event, the speakers are added from session speakers, the translators are added from sessions translators, so on and so forth. In a filed and audio video folder also, you can see that processing status of raw and edit is from parent folders dot processing status. That's how the entire subtree of a folder was getting updated with processing status when we updated the processing status of the folder itself. So we have looked at the schema, and within schema there is also suggestions.toml. Suggestions.toml says that when I'm running an auto suggest in an, let's say for example, event, when I'm editing an event or doing advanced search for events, then, and when I'm trying to specify speaker within an event of the event, like editing an event for speaker, I type in there here, when I, let's say, create an event, I go to the speaker field, and here I type in the name of the speakers, His Holiness English. I've typed in only His Holiness. This is what you specify here. That when I go to event, edit an event, or do advanced search, in the speakers, the suggestion path is the person's name. As you can see here, the person is His Holiness, the speaker is His Holiness, and that speaker has object person, which is His Holiness, the name of the person. That is being shown here. As in, the auto suggest works based on this. Similarly, translators will work based on the person's name of the translator. When searching for the location of the event, then within the location entity, the name of location will be used for auto suggest. When you're searching for sessions in the event, then the title of the session will show in will be used to show sessions in the auto suggest, so on and so forth. Then there is the joins. So, if you look at a particular event, whether in the search result, you are seeing with every result, we are showing the title, we are showing the starting date, and we are showing the description of the event. So, in every view, now that was search view, this is the view of the whole event itself outside of the search. In this view, you are even seeing location classifications which were not visible in the search view, for example. So based on whatever information you want for an entity like event in different views, you specify joins during read time. The joins are of read.txt. These joins contain all the joins that are shown within the event when you open the view entity window, the view event window. So what all information do you want to show in the window, including the direct fields of the event and its relationships, is contained in the joins. So here in the event, you can see sessions. I want to see the sessions with their title and description. I want to see the speaker's person's name. I want to see the speaker's primary language. So this has doesn't have speaker, but if you go to location, I want to see the location's name and type, and location's parent location's name. So here you can see location is Spain, its type is country, and parent location is Europe. This is what we are fetching from the backend. Whenever we are fetching event, we are also along with this fetching all this information from its relationships in the whole database. So this is an easy way to specify all the information you want to retrieve when you're retrieving an entity. Then similarly for search, then the index joins are a special kind of joins. The index joins are useful when you are indexing an entity. So when you are indexing an event, and let us say as a database admin in future you want to be able to search events based on the names of the speaker or the translators, or based on the classifications or the location, then in the index time joins you specify all of that. So here in the events I have specified sessions title and description must be stored along with the event. The speaker's person's name must be stored inside the event. The translator's person's name must also be stored inside the event. The classification's name and location's name should also be stored inside the event object itself. So whenever the event is indexed, it stores all of this information across its specified relationships within the event object as well. This way you can search for event based on any of this information stored here right away, which I demonstrated to you earlier. Let us say, let us look for events with speaker XYZ. Here you see in the search result, the event has speakers with the name XYZ. Two events have speakers with the name XYZ, and also one event has location with the name XYZ, which is specified right here. In event, you are storing speakers, person name, and also locations. So this way, your search is very fast and takes only one hit to the database. No database, in my knowledge, does such a fast search across relationships once configured. If you haven't configured this in the index joins, then you can of course go anytime, like person roles. You want to suggest event by person roles, then it is a bit longer process, but it is very easy still. You search for the person role based on auto suggest here, camera person, and you say submit. There is one event where this camera person shot his videos. So this is about joins. Then there is another file called collect.toml, which basically is used for enhancement of speed of the database. This database is much faster than any other database in doing very complex works. This configuration file called collect.toml is usually responsible for the speed in the syncing of the hard drive. Also, how fast it was because of the configurations in speed. Then let us go and look at also the front end configuration. As in, by front end we mean the view, the user interface, how the user interface looks and what fields we show where. That is determined by the front end configuration. For example, if you go here, event, how should my event look? My primary field in the event is title, and this primary field is also shown in bold everywhere. My secondary fields are starting date, ending date, description, and archive notes. If I'm showing a tree within the event, like the folder and file tree, if you remember, then these are the fields I want to show: name of folder, modification time, processing status, and the relations are that I want to show it for folders, files, audio, and video. Then within the speakers of the event, I want to show the primary language of the speaker as well. In the translation, I also want to show the translation type. In the person role, I want to show the role.name. In location, I want to show the field type and also the parent's name, which you can see here. When we show the speaker, we show his language. When we show a person role, we also show his role, camera person. When we show a location, we show the name of location followed by the type and followed by name of the parent location, which you can see here. The relation fields is parent.name, fields is type. Then comes the schema. There is also a schema object within the front end as well. Within the schema, again, you describe all your fields which are to be shown in the view. You put their English title and Tibetan title. Along with it, you describe if it's a multi-line field, if it's really must required for the user interface for the view. Then second, that whether this field can be added from the view. You remember linking from view by create new or search, that plus button. This plus button, add new. This is on whichever entities you want to enable this plus button in the view, you add can add from view. Then in secondary languages you are seeing, or in the primary languages you are seeing drop down is equal to name. So whenever we show the drop down, let's say for editing this event, we go to the languages and you are seeing in the drop down the names of the languages. So you can specify for any entity when it is shown in the drop down, what field of that entity do you want to show in the drop down. Then some drop downs also have secondary fields. For example, location shows the type and the name of the parent location as well. Have a look. You go to the location and specify some location. You will see the name of the location Dharwad, type of the location city, and parent location is Karnataka, that you are seeing here. So this is what you can do here. Then also edit in edit form. Now some things we want to allow editing in the edit form, some things we don't allow to edit in the edit form when you are editing an entity. For example, when I'm editing an event, I don't want to edit sessions from there. So when you edit an event, you will not see sessions out here. There is no field showing the sessions here. For sessions, we only want to do this via the user interface by going to the plus icon. So as a database admin, you can set up this behavior in your database. So this is it. This is broadly all the configuration that is used in the database, and there are slightly more deeper configurations which you don't need to look right now. But in short, I hope this trial of the configurations, the view that I showed you of how to set up all these configurations for the front end and back end, gave you an insight how this database has been configured in behavior for its search, for how its views behave, for how the relationships are, for how the data is copied from one relationship into another so that the admin does have to do less work, how everything, all the fields, declaration schema, everything is configurable, and not a single line of this configuration lies within the code of the database. Everything is absolutely generic. So concluding, this database is designed keeping long-term, high-traffic, ease of use, ease of configuration, and ease of expansion in mind, where it can be expanded to multiple use cases in future, and also the schema can be changed and expanded, and more entities can be added in schema. It is a relationship-aware database and search engine, which means that it keeps tracks of relationships by allowing you to link different entities together and search an entity based on the data contained within its relationships also. It is extensible to any kind of information that is to be stored, searched, entered, and retrieved. Elasticsearch, the underlying technology, is famous for search, so it can be used to even search within PDF files for books. Search behavior and result sorting can be tuned to preference with great control depending on your use case. So basically, you have complete control on how do you want to fine tune your search experience. It is completely customizable, and also you can search in future if you want, even within the PDF files, doc files, and PPT files as well. This is how powerful the search technology in this database is potentially. This database can be used to make websites and mobile applications, museum displays, etc. by use of the application programming interface, in short called the API. Developers use the API to build other apps around this database. The other interface in the database, along with API, is the user interface, which you just saw. This user interface is for the admins and is also completely configurable. This whole user interface, which we just went through, is the second interface of the database along with the application programming interface or the API. Everything in the database, as we talked about, is configurable, so it is easy to change the flow of creation, viewing, search, editing, linking, etc. It is also easy to add new kinds of entities like photos and books in the database, and also change the fields of any entity. I just took you through the backend and the front-end folders of the configuration. The underlying tech can scale to thousands of daily visitors thanks to Elasticsearch. It is a very scalable solution built for scale. The software being multilingual, the visitors can browse the website or apps in any languages that are configured. For this particular case, there is English and Tibetan as of now. Any person can be quickly trained to be an admin for this database, manage all kinds of relationships and entities, create new entities, migrate older database to this one with much ease. If you have an existing database in FileMaker Pro, Excel Sheets, or some other software like MySQL, it is very easy to migrate from that database into this one. It is very easy for admins to add new behavior or add new kinds of data to this database with much ease. Then the last feature is the DB script, which is very useful for data migration and is very easy to write. You can migrate your old database like FileMaker Pro, Excel Sheet, MySQL, etc. into JSON format stored within Elasticsearch. Then from that JSON format stored within your Elasticsearch database, you can migrate that old database to this new one with great ease. Tibetan community can now use this particular database to also include data from their libraries, prisoner records, Tibetan citizens database, and much more. Just by creating new configuration files and then by setting up the database for, let's say, prisoners records or libraries, your database setup will be ready with the configuration. Then all you need to do is then copy your data from the old database wherever it is stored into Elasticgraph. Let us have a quick look at the scripting file also. Here is how you write scripts. This is how easy it is to write scripts. For example, this complex behavior of writing of copying speakers and translators and linking with event from the old database to new database, like copy the speakers, translators, and link it with the event. This was a pretty complex task. If somebody is to write code for doing this task, they would spend probably 3 months writing this code for just this little few pieces of line that you are seeing here in any programming language. So I went ahead and created this script which is just like English and helps you speak with this database much easily. It can also be used by developers who interact with the database using the API, application programming interface. They can access Elasticsearch with much ease with using this script, and they can migrate very complex and old and big databases into this new one using this particular script. You can see how easy it is to do a search command from this script, or it is to retrieve, get an old content row from the database. It is easy to loop over your rows, like whatever you have retrieved from the database, let's say 100 rows, then you are iterating over them, and for every row you are doing this job. It is very easy to write such kind of logic and behavior like any complex programming language. Of course, not till all of the programming language, but there are some most important features which you will require for database migration. These features are covered in this script. There are if else statements also. Then you can even insert a function of JavaScript inside. Then you can create variables. You can use the async functionality. You can search, etc., etc. So in short, these are the features of this database. If you would like a live demo, I can do it for you. If you have some queries, I am happy to give answer to you. The backend of this database is also in the open source. You can freely check out the backend for anything that you want to ask about this database, or if you're interested in using this. And I really hope that you like the view, you like the demo, and you would like to use this database. For any query, please get in touch with me at ayush.ghai@gmail.com. Many thanks for watching this video. Have a great day.